Uh, Hi. Uh, wow. Okay. This is definitely interesting, but yeah. Huh. I know it's been a minute. I know. But I'm back, and I want to get back into the groove of what is, or at least the moments I can't get it. But do got a new studio, so a new area, a new work environment for me to do what I want with more efficiency and more, I guess, on schedule, I guess. But yeah, let me just stop talking. Well, not stop talking, but get into the story. But essentially, this story is going to be what if Deku had the mask? Yeah, the green mask. So before I really get into it, let me bring up a couple things in this story. Izuku, he won't be dark per se. I mean, he will kill, but only if he deems it absolutely necessary or he feels like it's the right thing to do. And so, of course, since this is a mass story, so expect, cartoony violence and stuff like that. So, yeah, let's get on to the story and let me know what y'all think of this. So, yeah. So, we don't I'm going to take this right after the last day of school for Deku. Last day of school as we see Deku at the beach, as he's contemplating on what Bakugo said to him. As if y'all watched the show, y'all know what he said. If you really want a quirk, how about take a swan dive off the roof and hope pray for a quirk in your next life? So yeah, not a very nice thing to say to your quote unquote friend. But Deku, he just thinking about it. Not just thinking about that, thinking of all kinds of this other people who are saying, no, you can't do this, you can't be this, you can't be that, you can't do that. As he's just at the beach and every inch of the sand was just covered in trash. It looked more like a junkyard than a beach. So as he just walks down the stairs to the beach, he walks to a small path separating some of the garbage, and he's just looking at the ocean. As he's just thinking to himself like, I know I want to be a hero, but I gotta be realistic with myself. They're all right about me. I can't be a hero with no quirk. So he lets out a sad sigh as he is looking up into the sky. Huh. I better get home. I don't want to worry my mom. As he turns around, begins to walk back through the garbage as a green glow catches his attention. As he turns his head to the direction as the last of his tears fall from his eyes. So he wipes off his face as he sees where the glow is coming from. As the glowing stopped just as he got to it. As he stops at the spot where he thinks the glowing is coming from, as he looks down, look all around on the ground for it. It has to be here somewhere, but it's just so much junk here. I can't look for nothing. So he kneels down, carefully digs through the garbage, and after a while he was about to get up, but after moving a small sheet of rubble, his eyes widen, seeing a smooth jade green mask. As he drops the sheet of metal, grabs the mask, and picks it up off the ground. As he's thinking to himself, like, was this where the glowing was coming from? Huh, must have been reflecting off the sunlight or something. So he takes the mask, puts it in his backpack, and proceeds to leave, As he's looking at himself, he's like, hope my eyes don't look too red. Don't want to worry my mom. So outside an apartment, 5, 6 in the afternoon, the boy takes out his keys, unlocks the door, and heads in. as he says, Mom, I'm here. And so Inko comes in, pulls him into a hug, which, he returns back. And she's like, as Izuku says, I'm sorry for being late. I didn't worry you too much, did I? As his mom pulls him away, looks him with a smile, be like, nah. Okay, maybe a little bit, but I'm just happy that you're home. Did you have a good day at school? As Izuku's smile drops as he sadly looks away. No, not really. I'm going to my room to do my homework, as he tries to walk past her to head into her room, As he says, just call me when dinner's ready, okay, Mom? As she, lightly grabs his arm, making him, look back. I just I'm sorry, Izuku. I'm sorry that you had to put up with everything that you had to go through at school. I'm sorry you didn't inherit my stupid quirk. And I'm also sorry you didn't inherit your father's quirk. She then turns around and looks at him, but I'm really sorry about giving up on your dream. As Izuku was frowning from her mentioning his father, but his eyes widened when she turned him around and heard what she said. As then she puts his arms on his shoulders, tears start coming from her eyes as well. You know exactly what I'm talking about. As soon as we found out you were quirkless, I just knew you couldn't be a pro hero. As Izuku looks away sadly, but looks back at her as she continues. And I know that you don't want to hear this, but you can still be a kind of a hero. Just not a pro like All Might, a doctor, fireman, or even a police officer. You can still be one of those things. As she pulls him into a hug and says, please promise me that you're never going to give up on your dreams anymore. As Izuku hugs her back with a small smile on his face. Thanks, Mom. I kind of needed to hear that. Even though it's not... No, she's right. I need to start thinking more realistically. As he then lets go of her as he goes upstairs, as he says, I'm going to do my homework, as she still hears hints of sadness in his voice. As he heads upstairs into his room. So Inko tried to get his attention again, but she knows at this point it's just going to hurt him even more. So we're going to cut to an hour later. Izuku sitting on his desk and was finishing the last bit of his homework, as he puts the pencil in his right hand down as he checks the rest of it. He's like, maybe being a cop is the right way to go after all. Then he pulls out his backpack and sees the green glow coming from it again. Izuku, now wearing casual clothing, looks at his backpack and his eyes widen. What the heck? Oh, the mask. As he then reaches out the backpack and pulls out the mask, but the glowing stopped. Stopped again? What the hell is this thing? As he looks at the mask that he was now holding with both hands, as he heard a voice. He couldn't tell if it was necessary a male or female inside his head, as he just heard a voice. Do you want to be greater? Do you want to have power? As Izuku jumps back, jumps literally out his chair as he throws the mask at the wall, as he watches it land on his bed with shocked eyes, what the heck? Even though it didn't have eyes, but Izuku felt like it was looking right back at him. He heard the voice again, but the voice sounded like it was far away. Don't be afraid. I can't hurt you. As Izuku keeps his eyes on the mask as he walks up to it. How are you able to talk? How can you be alive? As he slowly reaches for it and picks it up again. What are you? The voice comes back and sounds like it did the first time. Well, to answer your questions from last to first, I am a mask, of course. I've always been alive, I think. And over time, I've absorbed some power of all the people that had quirks that put me on, giving me the ability to talk and something else as well. As Izuku looks at the mask, as he's like, wait, what do you mean by making me greater? How can you even do that? As the voice answers him back, simple. All you have to do is wear me. And then with the power I give you, you can make all your dreams one large step closer to becoming reality. The voice says, sounding more serious. But there is some bad that comes with the good. And I've got a deal that hopefully can help us both out in the end. I also have one condition for you. Now, if you're willing to hear me out, or just put me on to get power. So, Izuku bites his bottom lip, looking at the mask as he thinks about it for a few seconds, as he also gets a serious look on his face. Okay, I'll hear you out. Can you tell me what your conditions is first? The voice then answers back, good. You see, I've been around for a very long time, before people had powers that all of you call quirks. Many people have warned me, few use my power to do good. Well, most of them have done horrible things. Steal, rape, murder. I'm tired of my power being used in such ways, unless the first and the last are very necessary. Will you use my power to do such things? As Izuku's eyes had widened in horror when the voice had said what his power has been used for, as he quickly shakes his head. No. I would never do anything like that. As he didn't look at the mask. Even if your power can make me a hero and I have to kill to save someone else, I'll do everything I can before they can even be an idea. But if it's necessary and if it has to come to it, I will do it. As the voice then sounds happy. Good. That is exactly what I want to hear. Now, for the good that comes with my power, first, you'll be able to do almost anything. Second, you'll be almost invincible and almost unkillable. Third, you have almost anything you want. Or have anything you want. Almost anything, I guess. And lastly, thanks to this new ability I have, as Izuku swore that he heard the voice smirking. Let's just say that with it, the two of us are going to have a big family. As Izuku's like, wait, what do you mean by that? As the voice answered back like, don't worry about it. I'll tell you more about that later. As the voice like, anyway, now, however, for the bad. One, like I said, you'll be able to do almost anything, but there are plenty of things that you still won't be able to do. Two, if you don't be careful, you can still die. You have to concentrate on my powers to keep yourself alive. And three, even with my powers, you can't have everything and you'll still have to work hard to get what you want. And the part I hate the most, my powers only work at night. The voice then sounds a little happier. So, will you listen to the deal I have for you? As Izuku was about to say something, but then he heard the voice of his mom through the door. She's like, hey, dinner's almost ready. Come on. As Izuku looks at the door, he's like, all right, I'm coming. As he then looks at the alarm clock on his dresser and on the other side of his bed, as he sees it's now 7:14. As then he looks back at the mask. Look, we have to talk about this later. As the voice answers back, be like, oh, okay. Or you can just put me on right now, since it's nighttime and you can feel the power I can give you. Then we can go somewhere a little more private to discuss the deal. And just don't try to fight it when you put me on. I promise. It will feel weird a bit, but I won't hurt you. As Izuku looks down at the floor, he's like, what should I do? Can I even trust this thing? He looks back at the mask. He's like, but this could be my only chance to follow my dreams. I have to take it. As he puts the mask, he turns the mask around and quickly puts it on his face. As after a few seconds of nothing happening, Izuku all of a sudden feels his body stiffen up and his eyes widening. He's like, this feeling, I can't move my body. What is this? As the mask's like, don't panic. Just relax and let the power change you. You'll be okay. As Izuku stiffens his head to nod, as he feels the mask sticking to his skin and spreading all around his head, and so he feels like his body just spinning quickly in a clockwise, forming a mini colored tornado. And after the tornado stopped, Izuku feels his head, feels like, ugh, the whole world just went 1,000,000 miles per hour and just went to a dead stop. As Izuku looks the same from the neck down, his hair is the same, his face is now a light green, his skin also looks more smoother and shinier, like it's made out of ink. So when he's smiling, he see, extremely shiny white teeth. And open up his eyes as he looks down, be like, whoa. And after Izuku starting to feel the power a little bit, he hears, Izuku, are you okay? Izuku looks at the door, and when he hears his mom's voice, he's like, I'm okay, don't worry, I'm coming. As the voice is like, Izuku, look, like, we really need to talk, so we can head off, But Izuku's like, don't worry, I'll be quick. It's just a quick little dinner with my mom. It can't be that bad. So Izuku straightens back up straight with a boing on his head, and then he, let out like a huge grin on his face. He's like, thank you. As he was about to leave his room when he looked around and saw the small mess when his transformation had caused. But first, he then zooms around, moving like a complete blur, just clean up the mess. As he comes to a stop in front of the bookshelf, as he very slowly and carefully puts a figure of a very buff hero with blonde hair back on the shelf. He's like, there you go. Okay. Thank God I didn't break it. As he looks at the other copies of the same hero on most of the shelves before looking at the only female figure poorly hidden amongst the others. As he's looking in this picture of Midnight, as he's like, man, hopefully I get to meet her one day. So he then zooms out his room. So meanwhile, Inko, she's got through finishing food and started setting up the plates. As she looks down at the food with a big smile on her face, she's like, there. Not bad if I do say so myself. I made Izuku's favorite. I hope this can cheer him up, even if it's just a little. She then picks up the plate and turns around, and her eyes just widen as her jaw just opens with shock. As she's like, what's going on, because she looks at Izuku. She's like, Izuku, like, what's going on? As Izuku wearing a dark green suit, white button-up shirt underneath it, white gloves, dark green tie, dark green shoes. As he's standing in front of Inko, on the side of the table with a big grin on his face. As Inka was, looking at him up and down, she's like, okay, sweetie, what are you wearing? She says as she notices her face, and then quickly gets up as she goes closer. But, she was about to fall, but, she caught herself before she smacked the ground. As she's, like, looking at his face now. Like, she now gets, like, a genuine look at his face. And she's like, Izuku, your face is all green. Are you okay? Do you feel sick? And she's, like, touching his face and everything, checking his temperature and stuff. As Izuku shakes his head. She's looking at her like, no, I'm not sick. In fact, I'm more than okay, Mom. The best thing possible has happened to me. I have a quirk now. He smiles now. As she's like, oh, I'm so happy for you, Zuko. You know, like, it must have been a late bloomer or something. As he's like, thank you. But I have something to do first. As he then grabs the plate of food and just shoves it down his face. He just eats the whole thing. Whew, absolutely delicious. Sorry I had to wolf down such a wonderful dinner you made, but I'll make it up to you when I get back. As he zooms out the apartment. So we gonna cut to the beach. It's about 7:29 in the evening. Let's say it's that time. And let's say meanwhile, on the deserted, garbage-filled beach, a person in all black sneaking past a row of trash as they look around and, you know, diving back down and peeping over the next row of trash. As they just keep doing this. As the figure says, the ninja once again moves without alerting any of his enemies. As the man is like, you know, if I didn't have hands, I'll be face palming right now. Izuku, no one is following us in the first place. Can we please just get into business already? Izuku opens his eyes, you know, rolling them. As he's like, okay. As he then reaches his left hand and takes off the ninja mask. As he looks up at the starry night with a big smile on his face. This power, it's pretty incredible. I feel like I can do almost anything. It's like I'm a living, breathing cartoon character. As he then reaches into his pocket with his right hand and pulls out a big frying pan. As he like grips it and then smacks it on his face as hard as he could. And then Izuku just stands there completely still for a few seconds before a pain-filled ouch can be heard. As he tries to pull the frying pan off his face, but his face sticks to it. And then his neck stretches as he pulls it. And so he just grabs it with both hands and with a final, and his neck made like a springing boing noise as he's now like this intense pain, this wave hit him in the face. He's like, okay, note to self, don't do that. And also, remind me not to ever do that again, as he quickly shakes his head and goes back to normal. Well, no one told you what to do, you know. Just because you are like a cartoon character doesn't mean that you can't feel any pain. It just hurts a lot less and for a lot less times. Now, about my deal. Izuku raises his right hand with his index finger pointing with his eyes closed. 1 second. As he grabs a black shirt with his right hand and pulls it along with 3 other sets of clothing. As he pulls out a green shirt, black jacket over it with black pants and red boots. Okay, go ahead. I'm going to get straight to the point. I want a body of my own, and I think that with your help, we can do that. Plus, we can make sure that I don't fall into anyone's hands for hopefully a long time. As Izuku's eyebrow raised, as he tilts his head in confusion, he's like, how are we supposed to do that? His confused look then changed into a small frown. Like, you better not be doing what I think you're about to do with my body. Like, because if that's the case, no. As the voice just says, no. I'm not going to take over your body. What I want to do is fuse myself with your body. And while you try to make a copy of yourself for me. As Izuku blinks for a few seconds and then pulls out a hammer out his right jacket pocket. And then he looks into it. Try? You mean you've never done this before? His reflection shakes his head, no. And then the voice comes out. This is my first time attempting it, and I'm not even sure if it will work. But want to do things on my own, and I promise, if this works, I won't do anything that you wouldn't want me to do. The reflection then gives him the puppy eyes, saying please. As Izuku's eyes widen, then he lets out a sigh, but like, alright, what do I have to do? The reflection then gives Izuku a big smile. He's like, thank you. Now, all you have to do is grab the back of your head and pull it like you're trying to take me off. But think of it as you're trying to make a copy of yourself. I'll try to fuse myself with you more than I already am right now. Hopefully this should work. If not, then worst case scenario would be me destroying myself. As Izuku looks down at the reflection in worry. Destroy yourself? Are you sure this is worth it? The reflection nods and looks at Izuku very seriously. Yes, it is. Now, let's do this. As Izuku nods his head and throws the mirror over his right shoulder, and hearing like a loud like crash, and then you hear like a kitty like screaming very aggressively because the mirror kind of hit Izuku. I mean, not hit Izuku, hit the cat. As he takes a deep breath, reaches the back of his head with both his hands and pulls. As seconds go by, Izuku pulls harder and harder as his arms begin to shake as he grits his teeth and sweat starts running down his face. Soon his green face started to glow. It starts off dim, and then it gets brighter and brighter until suddenly he was once again spinning in a many-colored tornado that was the green, black, and red. As it stays in one spot, small bits of trash gets tossed in all directions and sand spirals around it. Izuku's scream is soon heard from within the mini tornado, but soon after another identical scream is heard along with his. It, however, becomes a bit higher in pitch, and suddenly something is shot out of the mini tornado and crashes deep inside the pile of garbage. And at the top of the pile is an old white refrigerator, and its door is pushed open from the inside. Izuku is sitting inside of it with a yellow cartoon stars circling around his head as his eyes are spinning. He's like, ugh, yes, All Might, I'll be honored to be your sidekick. He then shakes his head, opens his eyes, and holds his head with his hand. Okay, remind me not to do that again either. Don't worry, you don't have to, because it worked. It actually worked. Thank you. As Izuku leans out of the refrigerator and looks down in the direction of where the voice came from, and it sounded like his, but a lot different. As his eyes popped out of his head, and his jaw hits the fucking ground with a small thud as he sees the person standing there. She's looking up at Izuku with a smile. So, what do you think? I look pretty good, right? Izuku jumps out of the refrigerator and lands a few feet in front of the now female version of himself, as his eyes are wide due to shock. He's like, wait. Why? As he then raises both his finger and points it at her. Why are you a girl version of me? As she gives, Izuku a power be like, what? Don't you like the idea of having a twin sister? Oh, hey bro, I think I have gave myself a name already. Tell me, what do you think of the name Izumi Midoriya? As she gives him a wink. Do you like it? As Izuku just passes out. He just falls out due to just a mental overload. As she's like, Izuku, wake up. As you're like smacking him in the face, trying to wake him up. Which, yeah. That's where I'm going to end it right there. Tell me what you guys think. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll post. Well, I'm not about to lie to y'all. I post when I can. So Yeah,